for people who aren't in that program, whether they're an alcoholic or not. And for those suicide attempt survivors, wish there were support groups so that they can share their experience and it's not feel any judgment, and it's all peer support group.
Hey there, my name is Sean, and this is Suicide Noted. On this podcast, I talk with suicide attempt survivors and ideators so that we can hear their stories. Every year around the world, many millions of people try to take their own lives, and we almost never talk about it. We certainly don't talk about it enough, and when we do talk about it, when we engage with people in pain of any kind, we are not very good at it. Most of us are quite bad at it. So one of my goals with this podcast and related projects is to have more conversations, and hopefully better conversations with survivors, in large part to help more people in more places hopefully feel a little less shitty and a little less alone. Now, if you are an attempt survivor or ideator and you'd like to talk, I'd love to talk with you. Please reach out. hello@suicidenoted.com. It's simple. It's easy. I'll get back to you. Check our website, suicidenoted.com, or nose around Apple or Spotify or wherever you are listening to this if you want to learn all kinds of other things about this podcast. And remember, we've got our weekly or bi-weekly poll on Spotify. It is about the pink and purple pill. All about the pink and purple pill. I want your thoughts. I want your ideas. I want you to tell me why you would save it or take it or throw it away. Finally, we are talking about suicide on this podcast, as we've been doing for almost 6 years now. My guests and I, we don't hold back. So please take that into account before you listen or as you listen, but I do hope you listen because there is so much to learn. Today, I am talking again with Jamie. It's an update episode. Jamie lives in New York, and he is a suicide attempt survivor.
Jamie. What's up, my friend?
Hey, Sean.
How are you? I'm more colorful than I have been. You can just see it.
I see it. I love it.
And you're like all black.
I'm less colorful. No, this is navy blue.
We're trading places.
I know.
I'm in a weird mood, my friend. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. I'm going to Belgium on Wednesday.
Oh, right. That's sweet. Nice.
Husband. Yeah.
That's fantastic. And have you been doing some storytelling? I know you did the TEDx stuff, but have you been involved with story stuff of late?
What did I do? I guest hosted this woman, Bailey Sweeney, who's in a writing group of mine of storytellers. So I just got a show called We Love a Theme at Pete's Candy Store in Brooklyn. I guest hosted that. I'm going to do the Gotham Storytelling Festival in November.
Nice.
Not a brand new show, but a newish show for me, Pearl Necklace, a gay sexcapade. So
You're in New York?
I am right here in Chelsea.
You're in Chelsea. Okay.
Since, I've been in New York since 1990. But I've been in my husband and I have been in this place since 2004.
All right, cool.
We were on the Upper West Side before that. Yeah. Where'd you live?
I lived there for 12 years. I'm from Long Island, but I lived first on the Upper East, then East Village, then near Columbia, and then I ended my reign in New York in Sunnyside Gardens, Queens. So it was cool. I wasn't doing any storytelling then, but I may have passed you in the street and never know.
You never know? No, I wasn't doing storytelling then either. I started 2012.
Okay. And then you've just crushed.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
yeah, sure.
No, I want to say I was actually in San Miguel Allende a couple of months ago. I stayed there for a few weeks, and I remember you did something there.
Yeah, I have taught at the writers conference there a few times, and I also did some storytelling at the conference because they had a storytelling event show.
Yeah.
And I did that, and then I did one of my shows there, Dangerous When Wet. Great, at this cute little theater, and they were so excited, and they wanted me back for my next shows, and then COVID happened, and then it closed. And the theater didn't survive. Yeah, so I haven't actually. San Miguel was our last trip and last international. Well, no, it wasn't my last trip because I did go to Philadelphia, but it was the last international trip right before the pandemic. We came back from San Miguel de Allende and then Mexico City, February 24th of 2020. Right as it was happening. So Yeah.
And our paths probably crossed within a few months because I started the whole grit thing, and at some point you were connected with me, or we connected.
Did you know that I am now in Mexico?
Oh, it's great. I love Mexico. And I mean, that's what we want to, I go to Puerto Vallarta a lot now, and I'm doing shows there. And
Really?
I want us to get a place because, well, Mexico has been our, like, I think we'll end up there. We've been saying that for years. I wish we had taken care of that. And I'm a little jealous of you now, but I'm already married to a United States citizen, so I don't think I can get.
You got to get divorced, Matt. No, I'm just kidding. There's ways to go. I mean, there's always ways to go if you have money. You could buy your way in.
Yeah. No, I know.
And you would go to Puerto Vallarta, or do you know where you would stay and live?
It's a big possibility, stronger, just because I've got now a lot of connections there, and and it's very gay. So
nice. We talked in 2020, August of 2020. So there's an update episode. So if anyone's listening, we're not going to recount the whole thing. So check it out if you want to hear Jamie's original episode. And I remember from that episode a few things. So I share, in the beginning of each episode, I choose a little blurb, and you talked about, unless you've been in this space, it's not about being a coward or being selfish. It's about pain.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was going to ask you if you still agree with those words. And you said at the time, and this I think applied to you, was you don't see any other way to stop the pain other than ending your life or trying to, right?
In that moment, when you're in that space.
And for you, and I think this touches on some stuff you've been doing with respect to stage stuff, TEDx stuff, writing, a lot of it had to do with alcohol.
Yeah, no, I am an alcoholic in recovery, 16 plus years. My bottom, like it, and a lot of alcoholics in recovery, or alcoholics have this, was a suicide attempt. And I had a previous suicide attempt, let the record firmly state, about 9 years earlier. And I was not my alcoholic bottom because no one found out. And I didn't tell anyone until actually a few years after I was sober anyway, because I still had the shame about that. The copious amounts of alcohol that I was drinking brought on depression, and then suicidal depression and suicidal ideation. And then for both suicide attempts, I was drinking, and then I also drunk while I made those attempts. To some people, it's like, oh yeah, I know, alcoholics and addicts. They die by suicide all the time. It's kind of like, oh yeah, we know that, but not really. I don't think we talk about it head on when we talk about suicide and suicidal depression, and a lot of people forget that, or don't know. Some people don't realize, and then others just forget that alcohol is a depressant. So when you're drinking those amounts of alcohol, it's going to send you into a depression. And that's what happened with me. And I also know, just from being in recovery for 16 plus years, that that's true of many, many alcoholics and addicts, that at the end of their drinking, and I'm talking about the ones that I know, well, the ones that also, I've also lost many people, alcohol, who were active at the time that they died by suicide. But I also know from all the, recovery meetings I go to from other alcoholics, that the last stage of their alcohol, or many at the end of their drinking, was that they wanted to die. Some of them, like me, tried suicide as well.
It's interesting and tricky because depression can lead people to drink, as can a number of things. That's one thing. Genetics, and so it becomes cause and consequence.
Yeah.
Right. So you drink to numb. I currently drink, right? In part because my body's kind of used to it, and in part because I'm never wanting to glamorize or romanticize anything. I just feel a little better. It takes the edge off, as you've heard countless times, and I'm sure you dealt with it too. You feel the edge is gone.
Yeah.
For a little while. And isn't it an insidious? I don't know if that's the right word. This little thing.
Insidious is a good word for it, yes.
Yeah, it's just adding up day after day, week after week, month after month, however long it is, maybe years. Your body's depressed. Your mind gets depressed, in addition to whatever led you to drink.
Yeah. For me, there were tangible reasons, things that were happening bad in my life that I wanted to die over. And I'm talking about the second attempt. I had been fired from a job, a big job, and I felt like it was at the pinnacle of my career, and I felt like my career in publishing was over, even though I'd gotten another job. a very good job, which led to a whole new career that I still have. I had felt like my artistic dreams to write and to perform were never going to go anywhere, do anything with them. There were a pair of gorgeous but oversized Art Deco chairs in my living room that were wrong. They were an expensive mistake. And I don't say that just to be flippant or to be funny, although it is kind of funny, I think. But my point is that all those problems, those real problems at that point were on the same shelf. They had the same weight. For me, that was it was the alcohol that I was drinking that brought on that kind of depression and that kind of skewed perspective of my problems.
Because we don't talk much about the connection between alcohol and suicide. For you, everyone's body is different. People are unique. But when you say you drank a lot, is it like an everyday thing?
Oh, yes.
Was it a bottle? Just to gauge,
I'd say so. Yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, no normal, whatever is a normal drinker, to most people, if the amount of intake I was drinking was a lot. I was an everyday drinker from the time I was in my, I don't know, early 20s, let's say 20, until that second suicide attempt when I was 38. I was an everyday drinker. There were some periods like I would give it up for Lent. Sometimes I would make it through Lent, and most times I wouldn't. So there were periods of that I didn't drink every day. But at the end of my drinking, and the last few months, I was drinking nearly around the clock because I was physically addicted to it. I was definitely. I had the mental obsession. I had to drink. I was obsessed with it. I was always thinking about the next drink, the next time I could drink. Every opportunity was a drink. And then at the end, I was physically dependent upon it. I had to have it. I had I had physical effects. I had shakes. I had to have it to calm the shakes. And I was drinking in the morning, not every morning, but often, often enough. And near the end, most mornings.
Are you a 12-step person?
I am. Yes.
I've heard similar-ish stories.
Yes, exactly.
It's not a unique thing. You are unique, of course, but that thing is, and it's interesting to me because it's alcohol is, I think, by far the most commonly ingested drug. We do talk a lot about alcoholism, but you're right. I don't hear a connection. Sometimes it comes up, but not too often, about alcohol and suicide.
Well, that's why I think it's important to talk when we talk about suicide and we talk about suicidal depression, to talk about alcohol and drugs. On the one hand, yes, American Foundation of Suicide Prevention says about 30% who die by suicide have high levels of alcohol in them, and then alcoholics are more prone to it. So there's that we've just talked about, but then what you said that we don't talk about enough as well, also in that conversation, is those who aren't necessarily alcoholics and addicts, but the depression leads them to alcohol and drugs to self-medicate. And then the alcohol and drugs then worsens the depression and then also frees us of our inhibitions and our fear, you want to call it, that we actually take the action.
Right. Yeah.
Many people take the action under the influence. And, like when Anthony Bourdain and Kate Spade died by suicide, both like within days of each other.
Yeah, right.
And so, there was a international conversation about suicide, obviously, and, as it usually happens when a celebrity dies by suicide. And there was almost no talk about alcohol and drugs, and both of them were known to be heavy drinkers.
Why? Why do you think that is?
I think sometimes when we talk about it, it seems to be in the press, they seem to everyone wants to go for it's almost kind of romanticized and glamorized notion of let's look at like what could be wrong. Oh, they had a relation. Anthony Bourdain had a bad relationship.
Right.
He had a bad marriage, and we want to look at all those things and turn it into this drama, which all those things probably did contribute to it. Of course, we can never answer that.
Correct.
But not to look at also, sometimes it's not even brought up. And then sometimes it's an aside. Oh, and by the way, they drank a lot. Like, no, that's not a by the way. That's like a major component.
Yeah, we're just spitballing or speculating here, but it's interesting that alcohol, which is so prevalent, it's legal, accepted, it is everywhere. We're just going to kind of mostly gloss over that and then essentially guess, because we need the story, and the story needs a beginning, middle, end, and the story needs this, and the story, as you know, so relationship, and it's this, and it's just like, I mean, I guess it's a boring article if they're just guessing at a bunch of stuff and there's a bunch of question marks. Like, it doesn't make for necessarily good copy or good read, but yeah.
But I don't know why. I actually, though, no, that's not true, though. I mean, I'm not saying that you should, the article should just say, oh, yeah, they drank a lot and that's why, and move on to the next one. But that should be a major part of, oh, then there was this going wrong. There was a bad relationship. Oh, and they were fired from a job. And their mother recently died. And they were drinking a lot, perhaps alcoholically.
It's strange because if they were doing, and there's no judgment on my end here, but let's say they're a heroin addict. Well, heroin's illegal. So you might see why the press would shy away from it. We don't want everyone to know that because whatever, it's illegal. Alcohol, it's interesting. The other question I have several. I also wonder for some people, alcohol is sort of being alcoholism is a sort of slow suicide for some people, right?
Yes, thank you for saying that.
Or I don't know what the word is. Some people use passive, some use slow. There's other words, but it's essentially, I think, the same thing. Is I'm not jumping off a cliff. I'm not ODing on 50 pills. I don't have a gun, but I'm drinking a bottle of vodka every night or day or whatever it might be. And that number is probably going to get larger and larger as it. What are you doing to yourself? I'm not judging it, man, because I'm a drinker.
No, I have, listen, my husband drinks. I have a lot of friends who still drink. So my crusade is not, the whole world has to stop drinking. We just also have to open our eyes fully to the effects of alcohol. A lot of people in recovery talk about how, as I said earlier, that they wanted to die near the end, but even the ones who did not try suicide, they also talk about how it was a form of slow suicide, passive suicide.
And imagine for most people, you need some time away from the alcohol to get to that realization. I don't know, actually, because if you asked me, or if I just think about myself, right now, I don't know if I'll include this in this, but, I drink almost every night, at most a bottle of wine. So for some people, that's a lot. For some people, it's not a lot. I see what I'm doing. I'm not so blurry. That I would need to be clean for a year to be like, I'm sure if I were, I would have some things that I realized, right? Or epiphanies or something. I know what I'm doing. I know why I'm doing it in part. And I don't think it's going to necessarily end well. And I still drink. So I'm kind of aware of it. It's just, and I'm sure there's a lot of people like that,
It's like anything that is potentially bad for us. Smokers, most smokers, I think, believe that smoking has ill health effects. Maybe some believe it can cause lung cancer, and there are warning labels on cigarette packs. But you enjoy it. The smoker enjoys it, and they know that, and they're like, "Yeah, I know it's this, but I'm gonna, and I know that, but I like it." Or maybe they even say, "I'm addicted to it and can't stop." But that's how it is. But at least they know. At least we know. I don't think there is enough knowledge and awareness of the ill effects of alcohol. And I talked about this when I recorded my TEDx talk, it was in February of this year of 2025. And in January, there was a New York Times article that the Health and Human Services Department issued. There was a government study of effects of alcohol, which basically said that there are no health benefits of alcohol. And that it refuted previous reports that said, it's healthy to have 2 glasses of wine a day, or to have 2 drinks, or blah blah blah, or drinking in moderation is okay. It was completely repudiated that, and this then Surgeon General said that in the report it said that alcohol can cause 7 types of cancer, and so he was calling for alcoholic beverages to have warning labels like cigarette packs do, saying that alcohol may cause cancer or can cause cancer. I was so ecstatic about that report, and because I thought maybe it'll go the next step. And I was like, you know what, great for that warning label, but I want to add to that warning that alcohol can cause suicide, suicidal depression, and suicide.
Right.
put it on there. Now, do I think by putting a warning label on alcoholic beverages, it's going to stop somewhat? No, but at least it plants a seed. There's awareness there. So that report, by the way, it just within the last month, under the new director of the Health and Human Services Department, that report is being shelved in favor for another report from the from the National Academies of Science and Engineering and Medicine, saying that basically going back to the old way, that alcohol is in moderation is still good for you. So forget about those warning labels. Forget
about the warning labels. Right.
I can certainly forget about going deeper into the depressive aspects of alcohol.
Your TEDx talk and your article on Substack, I believe, is the same title, right? Warning: alcohol can cause suicide.
Yeah,
exactly. Pretty straightforward. And you've gotten, I know you have a bit of a following. So at least with the TEDx talk, I know there's been a lot of people that have watched that video.
Yeah, it's about 130,000 or something like that.
That's crazy, man. I'm talking to a rock star. I'm talking to a superstar here. Damn, Jamie Brickhouse is in the house. That's cool, man. I mean, at least if you got an important message to say, it's good that people get to hear it.
Yeah. And let's talk about a little bit about the shame of being a suicide attempt survivor, as I am, or an SAS, as I call it. Even though I've written about it in my memoir, I've written about it in the Times, I've done this TEDx talk, I've told it on storytelling stages, I still have, some shame about it, that I did it. And not so much that it's stopping me, obviously, from talking about it like we're doing right now. When I was asked to do the TEDx talk, I didn't pitch them this talk, and they said, "Oh yes, we love this. Let's do that." I was invited to do it by the woman who was producing it, and she knew me.
Right.
I thought you'd be great. And the theme is rewriting our stories.
Okay.
So it was up to me what I wanted to talk about. And I thought, maybe should it be some kind of creativity thing, about creativity and writing and performing and blah, blah, blah. And maybe that's going to be a wider appeal and more. But I wanted to tell this story. And I thought, maybe the other one's going to do more for me, for my career, or maybe.
Yeah.
But I thought, no, I want to do, but this is what I'm passionate about. And for a talk like this, I think it needs to be as real and genuine and passionate as possible. And so that's where
I think a lot of people hesitate or never talk, and for understandable reasons, or when they do, I think there's a lot of pressure. I don't know if the word is to conform. It's like, you can talk about it, but
yeah.
There's all these reasons why you shouldn't say certain words, or you should frame it in a certain way, or it needs to have a happy ending, or whatever we do. And it's like, okay, but let the person talk if they want to. And you are clearly doing that, which is cool. It's the whole reason this podcast exists, because I just can we have a space where people can really talk without filters? And I know that's a little risky. Some people might say, but talking about this can be risky a little bit, right? Like, so yeah, somebody could be triggered. It's possible.
It's possible. I think the talking about suicide openly far outweighs the benefits of not talking about it.
I agree with you entirely. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and then there's the whole thing about not talking about method. And I observe that when I've spoken at conferences, or on other podcasts. I think it's a little silly, because I think, if the idea that a potential someone who was thinking about suicide, it's like, oh, I never thought of taking an overdose. Oh, I never thought of
right.
myself.
It's 2025. Like, you're going to find anything you want so easily.
Yeah.
I've over time tweaked how I edit. So if it comes up where someone says, I took 100 pills, I'll use that. If they said, I took 100, and they give like Xanax, and I'm like, I think in terms of story, like, does it really move the story forward if we don't know exact? And like, it makes no difference. 100 pills is enough. We don't need to or if there are some of these like newer methods where they're kind of gray market, it's a math. I don't need to give people those ideas. You can find it if you want. It doesn't take much work. You can look around. But that's about all I do here. And I haven't gotten any pushback, but who knows? You were in your late 30s for the second attempt, which I think is the more serious one.
Mm-hmm.
And what about late 20s, 30-ish for the first one?
Yeah.
And you're in your mid 50s now?
High 50s.
Okay. So it's been several years since that last attempt, and at some point you found storytelling. And this came up in part during our conversation, but it's also been 5 years since we spoke about this, which is fucking crazy, Jamie. Particularly since we talked, do you ideate? Do you ever think about ending your life?
I'm so glad you asked that question. Yes, and I do like to talk about, and I think that's important to talk about as well. So by saying that I'm an alcoholic in recovery, and so now everything's great, and I don't have any more serious problems because I'm sober, is not true. I still have a problem. I don't suffer from clinical depression, so I've never taken any medication for depression, and I don't think I suffer from severe depression. I have depression from time to time about when things aren't going well in my world. I do still think of suicide, and do still, I had a big writing project that seems not to be going anywhere, and it's not going anywhere for right now. And I thought about, I'm a failure. This is, and I want to kill myself, and but I don't get. For me, I don't get anywhere near.
Mm-hmm.
Those are just thoughts and moments of low depression, but I don't get anywhere near making a plan, and I certainly don't get anywhere near taking an action.
Or drinking a drink.
But I think that's why. I know for me, because I don't have any alcohol or drugs in my system. And after that suicide attempt, and I went to rehab when I was 38, and I was, I don't know, 7 months sober, and I relapsed.
Mm-hmm.
I was relapsed over a friend hurt my feelings, a dear friend, and it pissed me off, and I drank over it. Within an hour, I was drunk at a bar, and I was planning, and I had suicidal ideation, and was thinking of and planning ways. Maybe I'll jump off. So I know from experience that that's what alcohol can do to me. Well, I know it has done that to me, and I know that it will do that to me. And then a friend happened to be walking by. I don't know that I was actually. I can't tell you if the friend hadn't walked by, would I've tried a third time? I don't know. But if I happened to walk by and knew I was supposed to be sober, thought I was sober, and then came and took me home.
Right. Wow. Yeah. So and given what you just said, it's not as if it's going to necessarily take 2 weeks to kick in. An hour.
Yeah.
So you don't fuck around with booze.
No.
So for you,
it fucks around with me. It does fuck around.
You really are one of these people. That sounds weird, but I'll tell you this, man. Last month, 2 months ago, maybe, I had a couple buddies of mine invite me to an AA meeting. I like them. I respect them. I play pickleball with them. That's how I know them. Good guys. Don't preach. I went. I told a little story. I was trying to be very, very honest. And I left. And then they gently asked at one point, you think you're going to come back? And I said, I don't think so. And they said, why not? And I said, because I want to drink. I remember asking the woman who was running it at that particular day, I said, is it okay if I talk about drinking? Like I drink and I want to stop, but I don't want to stop. I think I'm caught. She's like, you can share it. That was the rules. It was an open meeting, however it works. There was a reason I shared that, and it wasn't just about it. And now I'm forgetting my point. It was something connected to what you were going through. Oh, so I met people there, and I've met people outside of those meetings at points where they say, if I drink, and sometimes I'm wondering, like, that sounds extreme. But in your case, it's not. If I drink, I'm going to die.
Yeah.
And that's how you live your life?
Yes. And I mean, and let me also say that I do not, the desire to drink I haven't had it in years.
Is that right? Okay.
So it's not something, I still go to those 12-step meetings because they because they also keep me from not drinking. I mean, I think that I do believe that's the reason why I haven't had a drink, or the desire to have a drink. So it's not like every day I wake up, I'm fighting the urge to drink. But ultimately, what you said, the bottom line, for me, if I drink, I die, is to die. Yeah.
What's it? So I know you had the solo show, or at least one, right?
4.
Jam. What are they called?
Dangerous When Wet. Dangerous When Wet, Booze, Sex, and My Mother, and which is based on my book of the same title. And I Favor My Daddy, A Tale of Two Sissies, which is about my father. The first one's about my drinking and my relationship with my mother, Mama Jean, and the second one is about my father's drinking and relationship with him and his possible homosexuality. I think he was in the closet for his entire life and entire marriage to my mother.
That must be really hard.
Yeah. And Pearl Necklace, a gay sexcapade, which is stories of love and sex on the eve of my marriage to my husband. And The Brother's Orphan, about my relationship with my two older half-brothers, Ronnie and Jeffrey. Wow. That's the newest show.
And some of them are written out as memoirs to read, or they're only to be heard and seen on stage?
Dangerous When Wet is a memoir to read. You can get it on Amazon as an ebook or a book or an audio read by me.
Read by Jamie Brickhouse.
And I Favor My Daddy is written, but it has not been published yet. That's what I'm working on.
That's a lot. That's a lot of shows. That's a lot of work. That's a lot of stuff. And yet sometimes you think of yourself as a failure because you're human.
I know.
You're human. Hey, man, listen, I'm very proud of this podcast. I got 300 conversations.
I'm proud of you for having it. And
I appreciate, but yet I have the same thoughts all the time.
Mm-hmm.
All the time.
And on having suicidal thoughts when post-suicide attempt, post-recovery, post mental stability or whatever, there's this idea of, okay, I should be done with that. And I think it's important for people to realize and understand it's okay to still have suicidal thoughts. The more you talk about them with at least one other person, the better. And the chances of you acting on them, I think, diminishes when you don't keep it to yourself. And, that's why I also think it's important if you're an SAS that you share that with someone.
Not sure I've heard that term before. SAS. Okay. It's tricky though also, right? Because it can be really hard to find the right kind of people to talk to.
Like it's probably not surprising that the people who are often struggling the most, it seems hard to measure that. Like they don't have people that they trust to talk. And it's not necessarily on them because some people just don't have family. They don't have friends, right. They have a therapist, but let's not get too close to that because then the therapist's hands are tied. And then they come on with me and it's like, I'm in this kind of weird, funky space I've created and they can talk. It's like, oh, okay. So you do want to talk. You wouldn't have reached out, right? So obviously they want to talk. I have a question that I started asking well after we talked, and it's called the pink and purple pill question. I want to ask you this question in a few different parts of your life, including today. And what this pill does, if you choose to take it, you would go to sleep gently and softly with no pain, and you would die and nobody would know it's a suicide. So it's about the best way you can go.
And where can I buy this pill?
And the question is, I'm asking Jamie at around the time he first attempted, Jamie at around the time he attempted the second time. And, those are tricky questions, but also maybe most importantly today. And and a couple of little notes here. Can't sell it. Shit would make a lot of money. Doesn't work if you give it away. So you have basically three choices. It seems like you take it, you save it, or you throw it out. Is it possible to ask you that question for either or both of your first two attempts? What you do is that kind of a dumb question because you tried and obviously would have taken it.
For both of those, I already have this pill. Is that correct?
Make pretend, go back in time, have the pill.
The first time I can't answer that question because I don't remember that much about the first time because for two reasons. One, that I was drunk, but I don't think it was just because I was sober. I mean, I was definitely inebriated and wasted, but I wasn't found out, as I said, and I didn't talk about it. And I also didn't think about it as much as possible. Mm-hmm. So therefore I really did not replay the moments of that night. Then I took a handful of painkillers, which was clearly not enough. I can't totally answer that, but I would say no. The second time I would probably have taken it.
Isn't that weird? And then you'd be dead.
Yeah, I know.
And unless you have certain kinds of beliefs, there ain't no coming back from that.
No, there's not. And I will tell you this, there are many people who attempt and come out of it and immediately after they still want to die. I'm glad that pill didn't exist because obviously I'm glad, but I would have been glad if that pill had existed and I chose not to take it for whatever reason and I did the other way, I went the other route that I took. Mm-hmm. It came to like I did. I would be glad that I hadn't taken that pill, just like I was glad then that I was alive, although I was still, in a deep state of depression and unhappiness, but I was glad.
It doesn't magically go away because you survived.
Right. Yeah.
That stuff is still typically there. I mean, sure.
Yeah.
And what about today? We're talking on September 22nd, which just happens to be the anniversary of my bar mitzvah. No connection to you or this. But I think it is. Damn, I'm getting old, Jamie. What would you do with it right now? Like, you're in your Chelsea home. You're married. You're looking.
And my options are
going to Belgium. You're going to Belgium next week.
Yeah, no, 2 days from now for our 30th, 35th anniversary, which is tomorrow, of being together.
Wow.
And our 5th wedding anniversary of being married, September 23rd and then September 25th, respectively.
Oh, congrats. So what
okay. So the question is today, if I had this pill in my possession, would I take it?
Take it, save it, or just get rid of it and, just
I would get rid of it. No question. There's no hesitation on that.
Got it. We talked for this podcast about 5 years ago. So crystal ball, in 5 years from now, what's your life like?
Let's see, 5 years. What's 5 and 7? I'll be 62. I think I will still be running my business. I have my own business, a lecture bureau. I think I'll still be doing that. I think I'll be working on a 3rd book, and that my 2nd one will be published. And that if it's not been published, I will continue to be a performer as a storyteller, and hopefully still spreading my message and sharing my story as an SAS, and hopefully to a bigger and broader circle, and how it can help others. And I do believe by telling my story, there's, which is the value of storytelling. No matter what no matter what story you are telling, is the universal and the particular. And then of course, because it's usually a talk at a suicide prevention conference or something similar to that, or a mental health conference, then I weave in the statistics and focused on alcohol and addiction. And I do have some strategies, but they're not heavy-handed. Like wait until tomorrow. If someone is telling you that they're suicidal, don't say, "Oh, you're don't do that. You're wrong to do that," or "Don't, that would be such a mistake," or blah blah blah. Just say, "Oh, okay, yeah, I can." Maybe even say, "Yeah, I can see why you might be suicidal." But wait until tomorrow. And the wait until tomorrow, which I got from recovery, which is what alcoholics tell other alcoholics who are thinking of using again. And you say, "Okay, fine. You want to drink today? Fine. Don't drink today. Wait until tomorrow."
Yeah.
But usually by tomorrow it passes. And if it hasn't, then you say, wait until tomorrow again. So I want to kill myself today. Okay, great. Just wait until tomorrow.
Do you know there's a Suicide Anonymous?
No. I want to know about this.
I don't know if you do. So I was Googling, I talked to somebody who's involved with it. No, this might be reflective of the model not necessarily working for suicide like it does for alcohol. It might be or any number of reasons. In the entire United States, there's one in-person meeting. It happens to be in New Mexico. I don't know why. There's one meeting per day on Zoom. I went to one a couple weeks ago, just kind of video off, muted, curious. But because it is a 12-step program, what they're really talking about is you or somebody coming to the conclusion that they're an addict, meaning they're addicted to, and I'm probably getting this wrong, addicted to the idea of suicide, addicted to attempting, addicted to. And so with that language, I was a little turned off. I was just like, because it's not just a place to talk. It's like, because it's the 12-step model and it's about addiction, right? That's at its core. So they're trying to take some of the ideas of that and apply it.
So they're trying to use just like Overeaters Anonymous or something like that, where they're saying, the food is an addiction, or, it's
suicide.
It's interesting. Yeah.
Wow. I don't know how I feel about it.
I am still excited about this, and I want to check it out, but but not as excited because one of the first talks I gave at a conference in, I think it was New York State, and I talked about how there are no support groups for SAS, suicide attempt survivors like me. Now, for me, my support group is the 12-step meetings I go to. That's my suicide prevention plan, is going to those meetings and staying sober. And in those meetings, people talk about their suicide attempts all the time. And a lot of times it's almost just and I got drunk driving. I got fired from my job. Oh, I tried to kill myself, and my wife left me. And then I got sober. It's just tick, 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 tick. And no one's like, oh my God, wait a minute. You tried to kill yourself? Let's talk. It's just because it's commonplace.
And it's also the way it's set up is that during the meeting, maybe after, it's like you don't do that. You just say thanks for sharing.
Oh, right. But for people who aren't in that program, whether they're an alcoholic or not, and for those suicide attempt survivors, wish there were support groups so that they can share their experience and it's not feel any judgment, and it's all peer support group. There's no psychiatrist, psychologist, social worker that's overseeing it, because I know some of those programs or some of those meetings exist. And I think they don't exist because many people don't feel comfortable talking about it, and so they're not going to seek those out.
Also, though, it's people's fear on the other side. If somebody's at that conference and they are suicidal, it's not just 10 years ago when they're still struggling. What do you do? If they do follow through with that, are they liable?
Yeah.
That's a real concern for people. Forgetting in ethics, I don't know. I think that's part of the fear, too, for people who might want to facilitate or create a group.
Yeah, I guess that could be. Yeah. I mean, if it's peer related, though, I think you're not affiliated with any organization.
Right. And I would imagine there are...
It's just like the 12-step programs don't take money from outside organizations. They're independent, and that's, so that there's that they're never beholden to a government, state, or corporation.
So they don't have to deal with a lot of that stuff. And I'd imagine the most you can find is, outside of this, what I just shared, which I don't know, is, there's probably people that get together in their living room that have this in common and talk about it. But it's not something you might be able to find online. So if you happen to have that in your life where you can create that, great. Otherwise, you're right. There's really, as far as I know, no real support groups specifically for this that don't overlap with...
There are a lot of support groups for survivors of suicide loss.
Oh, yeah.
But not attempt.
Right. And many for depression or certain kinds of mental illnesses, but specifically suicide attempt.
Slim.
At least in the U.S. No. What else would you like to share? This has been an interesting combo.
It has been. No, I think we talked about all the stuff that I'm burdened to talk about these days.
And we talked a tiny bit about your trip to Belgium.
A tiny bit, yes.
Have fun. I hope you have a nice time.
I'm excited.
You gonna come back speaking fluent Flemish?
Yes. Yeah.
Good. That's a good goal. Have some waffles, do all the standard dumb American, like
Belgian chocolate.
The American, you're going to Belgium. You're going to have Belgian waffle. No, I was actually there years ago. Beautiful. Have you been to Bruges?
We're going there. Yeah, we're doing the four main stuff: Bruges, Ghent, Antwerp, and Brussels.
Nice. I hope you have a great time. Sorry that I can't see you in New York when I come up, but
I know. I hate it that I'm going to miss your Suicide Note.
I'll tell you, man.
I would absolutely love to be there. But
thanks, man. Good connecting.
Thank you, Sean, and good luck with the tour. It'll be great.
Appreciate it, man. Have a good day.
All right, you too.
Bye.
Bye.
As always, thanks so much for listening and all of your support. Special thanks to Jamie up in New York. Thanks, Jamie, for talking with me again. If you are a suicide attempt survivor or ideator and you'd like to talk, please reach out. I'd love to talk with you. hello@suicidenoted.com. Check out our poll on Spotify. It is about the pink and purple pill. It will be that way for a while. Of course, if you'd like to give us a rating on Apple, 5 stars only, please. Everything else kind of hurts the podcast, and I know you don't want to do that. I would appreciate it. And that is all for this week's update episode. Stay strong. Do the best you can. I will talk to you soon.